And we are back with another episode of Financially Forever After, a love and money podcast. We are your hosts, Lindsey and
Brett Schunkweiler,
here to give you love, relationship, and financial tips. Whether you are starting out for the first time or been together for a long time and you still want some tips and stories and just unfiltered love advice from
you're retired, you're going into retirement,
well, yeah,
all that good stuff.
So it got me thinking, because we just got back from this weekend, your clients who have celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, which it's a long time. And it got me thinking, like, what are the good, like, tips that people would offer as far as staying together long term? Like, what makes you really stay together as a couple? Because let's be real here, like, it's not easy. Being married and being in a long-term relationship is not easy. So I just wanted to kind of figure out, like, what makes couples stay together? What makes them want to stay together? And what would you say for how long have we been together? It's been 17 years, but dating on top of that, 20, I would say 20 plus years since we've been together. So what are some of the things that you would offer to people that are just starting out in a new relationship and wanting to make it last?
Well, I know that you have to know each other's love language, and we spoke about that before, but I think laughing, like, honestly, like, we laugh a lot. Like, we poke at each other sometimes, but, we enjoy similar types of humor, I would say.
Yeah, we're both pretty dry humor, I would say, too.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I mean, because we've essentially almost grown up together. I was 17 when we started dating. I think we have a good, solid friendship on top of just being married. So we can banter and joke around with one another. But at the end of the day, we know that we're friends and we get along and we can laugh about it. But I think another component is trust. Trust is a huge component in a relationship. Being able to trust your partner and know that you went to Vegas a few weeks ago, last month, I think it was, but knowing that you can go to Vegas, I'm all for it. Go have fun with your buddies. Or I went on a girls' trip this year and there's trust there. We know that the other one is going to be faithful and we have a good partnership, good relationship. And so I think that's a huge backbone and component to a solid relationship.
When you're talking, I was thinking, oh my gosh, if you were really 17, 23 years. It's been 20.
Oh, you just did the math in your head.
Well, I was like, I know how old you are, and we started when you were 17.
Was a baby. Well, you're much older. You were 18.
You don't look a day over 25.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, gosh.
That makes me laugh because our son's a teenager now, but his buddies are like, I was honking the horn, getting my son's attention at school the other day, and his friends were like, is your mom a teenager? I'm like, thank you so much.
Oh, gosh.
So I appreciate that. Also, I think this is something I need to work on sometimes too. And I think you have your moments as well, but good listen. I think I like to cut you and laugh sometimes. You sometimes cut me off, but for the most part, here's the problem with me though. I get the ideas in my head and I have to get it out. It's like spewing it out as soon as it gets in my head. Otherwise, I'll forget. I have the memory of do goldfish have terrible memories? Isn't it goldfish?
What's it? Elephants have a really good memory.
Elephants have good memories, but I think it's goldfish.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso says, be a goldfish.
Yeah.
Because they have very small
brain.
It's not small brains, small memories.
Oh.
They don't remember much. So that I'm always needing, that's something I do need to work on, but also something I think that we're good at, and some people get on us, like, you guys bicker a lot or you're always picking at each other, but not holding on to an argument. And I think for you and I, like, we do a good job of, like, if something's bothering us, the other person pretty much knows right away. Like, we don't hold on to it. We don't keep it inside and let it fester and bubble over. And then eventually it's just like exploding like what are those? I can't even think. Up top. Like the tops that get really hot and their lids pop off,
And you say, blow your lid.
blow your lid. Yeah, that's the term I was looking for. That's why we're so good together. But yeah, I think we pretty much get it off our chest right then and there. Wouldn't you agree for the most?
Yeah, I just think when you say that, I'm like, what's that? Is it Sweet Home Alabama? Where you're doing the next pain in the ass thing?
No, that's The Notebook.
The Notebook.
That line.
Yeah, what is it? Like, you got a 2-second rebound rate before you're doing the next pain in the ass thing? Like, yeah, that's it. Pretty much hits the hammer or the nail on the head right there on that line.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I'm probably the one that causes the most
Firecracker.
a firecracker. We talked about this
Firecracker.
episode ago, but yeah, I'm the black cat personality. I sometimes jump the gun before thinking things through, and that's why whenever there's like an issue, whether something outside of our relationship, I have you handle it because I'm like, I know I'm not gonna handle it right, and you're pretty level-headed. You can talk. I get emotional. I start crying or I start like cussing, and it's not good for anyone. So
You're like a contractor or something like that. You're like, there's an issue. And I'm like, did you try to solve it? Yes. No. Do not do that.
don't let me handle it. So and that's what we know, our strengths, we know our weaknesses, and you balance me out. You're the yin to my yang.
Oh, nice.
You're my peanut butter to my jelly.
Okay. I hear yin to the yang, but like, what is that? Is that
That's
like a couple or something? Like,
yeah, it's like the Chinese symbol, the yin yang symbol. So yeah, the black and white. You've seen them. That was big in the 90s. Everybody.
I mean, I've heard that before, but I don't really
shirts. But that is that. The also another thing of tips of couples that have made it a long way. They say respecting your differences, and I think that is a key component as well. Respecting your differences, because we're not going to be the same. We're not going to always enjoy. You don't like concerts, I do, but sometimes you're like, hey, I'll go with you.
I'll go with
even though you don't enjoy it. I don't necessarily enjoy watching sporting events, but I will go with you because I know you enjoy it. So a good balance there of respecting each other's differences, but also just good quality time that you get to spend together.
Date night.
We
gotta have a date.
Date night is crucial.
The thing is, I mean, we have 3 kids and we're always going. We have 12 and 10? 15, 12, and 10 right now. So if it's not dance, it's basketball or it's volleyball or it's all, I mean, there's always something going on.
Yeah.
These days. So sometimes your weekend's like, hey, we have a weekend of volleyball, basketball, and we have another one, volleyball, and then we have dance. And then we're like, so it can be sometimes like 3-4 weeks before you have a date.
Mm-hmm.
And like, then we can tell.
Yeah.
Like you can absolutely tell. It's like, all right. Even
if other's nerves.
Yeah.
I feel like we start to feel more like roommates at that point then too, because the romance is not there. You're just so busy with the kids or other outside things, or it's like we're just passing each other at night and barely spending time together. So
you got to set a time. You're like, all right, well, I mean, you're always like, we have to look forward to something. Like, oh, I need to plan a trip, or I need to like having a date night or having something to look forward to as just a couple or like a couple's trip or something of that nature. I think that's essential.
Yeah.
Like, got it.
And it's funny you bring that up too, because I mean, trips, back when we got together, we had no money. We had no extra funding for like going out and doing even date nights. So just having like a night where it's like, okay, the kids are in bed, have a nice dinner in, and, just spend time together, watch a show together. So we weren't always able to go on dates.
Play a card game.
Play a card game.
Yeah, simple. It doesn't have to be
smirking over there. Where are you going with that card game?
Oh, we like card games.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to keep the romance alive.
Golf.
Maybe once or twice we've done strip shoots.
Strip shoots and ladders.
Hey, you got to keep the romance alive.
Do what you got to do.
Way you can do it.
So I don't know who told us about that, but it's like, all right, well, shoot was like, I don't need to take a shot. And
oh, yeah.
A ladder is like
clothing. Yeah. So it got to be pretty interesting.
There you go.
Whatever you need to do to make it work. Maybe that's not for you. That's okay.
Romance. There you go.
But keep the romance alive. And the last big component, what I've researched on this for couples who have been together a long term, and I thought this was a big one, because I want to talk about this further because I feel like we still deal with this. But it was, don't expect your partner to make you happy. So don't rely on your partner to be the one that makes you happy. And I know for you, you're a people pleaser. You have even mentioned it to me, like, I just want you to be happy. Like, whatever it is, like, I want to make sure you're happy. But the thing is, like, no matter what, you can't do that for me. I have to be the one to make myself happy. And as I've aged, and now I'm middle-aged, but figuring that out for myself, it's like, I can't rely on you or the kids to make me happy. It's got to come from myself. So it's doing things that I enjoy, or I know I struggled a long time because I was staying home with the kids, and that's a very hard job. Like, it's rewarding. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't go back and say that I wouldn't have done it differently. I got to watch my babies grow up, and I know for a lot of moms and dads out there, they're not able to do that. So I feel blessed being able to do that. But I lost a part of myself, I feel like. And now that the kids are getting older and we're able to do other business ventures, and I can kind of take the time to figure out, what I enjoy doing, or work-wise, whatever it is, I feel like I'm gaining a little bit of myself back, and my happiness has changed. But I think in today's culture, we're always looking outside the source for finding that happiness. Spending more money. If I get more money, I'll be happier. If I buy the bigger house, I'll be happier. If I get the bigger car, whatever it may be, fill in the blank. We're always searching outside. If I get the hot boyfriend that spends all this time with me.
Excuse me?
I'm, just using a reference, but you got to look to yourself. So I think we as a couple struggled with that too, because you were always, you're a fixer. You are. It's just your personality. So
yeah, I know sometimes you tell me about your problem. Like, well, what if you did this? What if you did this? You're just like, stop. Just stop it. Like, I don't need you to fix my problem. I don't need you to solve my. I'm like, well, it seems like a pretty easy solution. Like, you just do this.
Sometimes I don't want you to listen to me. I don't want you to fix it.
So yeah, at some point I've asked you before. I'm like, okay, so is this one of the ones where you want me to just listen, or do you want me to solve it? Because I have an answer for it.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, just listen. I just need to vent. And sometimes people just need to vent. Going back to the kids, you talked about. Sometimes you struggle. Like, postpartum is a real deal. Like, I know you were never diagnosed, you never really went in for it, but you admitted that you had a little bit of that.
100%.
And finding yourself is, it's tough.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times women stay at home, and it could be the guy that stays at home too.
Yeah.
But a lot of times women stay at home, after they have the kids, and, they lose their identity, and it's tough. And it's tough to get that back. And, we say, and you just trying to find your identity. I think, doing the podcast here, like, you enjoy this, and it's fun. It helps.
Whether we have 1 follower or a billion, I enjoy. This is like nice therapy for us. I feel like, too. We're just bantering and just being our genuine selves. So hopefully people enjoy it. If not, we're enjoying it.
Because the other thing is, you've always like, oh, I want to write a book. I want to be an actress. I want to do this. I want to do that. And then it goes back to the Notebook with Noah, and I forget her name.
What do you want?
What do you want? What do you want?
I feel like that's you to me all
the time. Like,
what do you want? It's like even going out to dinner. What do you want? No.
What was it the other night?
Feed me and tell me I'm pretty.
The other night, like, I had to come home, and you're like, it's Friday. I don't want to make anything. Like, just pick something up. I'm like, no. Because if I pick something up, it will not be what you want. And then I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just going to stop here and pick this up. That sounds good. No. Why would I want that? Why would I want that? Like, you literally just told me.
You're supposed to be a mind reader.
Anything's fine. I'm like, no, it's not.
Could have came home with a bar of chocolate, and I would have been really happy.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have fed the whole fam.
True. Got to feed the kids too, us. But so those were just some couples that have been together long term. So that's some of the key components that they say has been effective in relationships. So I would like to have your clients on that have been married for the 50 plus years, to have them on as guests, to just kind of pick their brains, because times have changed, and what might have worked for them might not work now. But it's just interesting to see throughout time, like, how do you withstand all the pressures of raising kids, or maybe you choose not to have kids, and that's fine, but the pressure of work or just society in general, and how do you make it work as a couple long term? So it's just interesting.
Yeah, we'll have various different age couples on. We'll just getting started. We'll have some single people on there. We'll have, people that have been together 40, 50, 60 years, 20 years, and just kind of pick their brains on what may or may not be helpful for everybody out there. But should we get some financial tips?
Absolutely. That's always exciting for me because I have no idea what's coming for me.
Okay, well, we'll make it easy today. Do you know what a Roth IRA is?
This is back to one of those things that I hear you say on the daily. I just never really truly think about it. Roth IRA, is it something you can get through like your job?
Not quite.
Okay.
Okay, but what do you think it is? Like, what's the reason to do a Roth? What does a Roth do? Any idea?
I know it's a good way to invest your money, but I don't know. I know you would transferring from a Roth IRA is pretty good. Like, right? Like no, I'm already getting the grimace face. So I don't know, Brett. Tell me. I don't want to make a fool of myself and say something completely ridiculous.
Hey, you know what? That's why we're here. Because
this is why we're breaking down these terms.
You teach me new things out there in pop culture and whatnot, and I'll teach you some, investment stuff.
Yeah.
So a Roth IRA is just a way that you can save money for retirement, tax-free. It can also be used for, college planning and in certain situations and other things. But you can only make up to a certain income in order to do a Roth IRA. So that changes every single year. For single people, it's a little over 100. For married people, it's close to 200, and it keeps going up and up and up. But if you make over that, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
But what a Roth IRA is, it's a lot of different ways that you can invest money, but it's about the taxability of that money.
Okay. So you said they can't make up to a certain amount. What's that amount?
I don't know. It changes every year, 100, 200, something like that. Well, it's around 100-ish for a single person. If you're a single individual, if you're married, it's roughly double that.
Okay.
It's actually not quite double that.
Yeah.
You have a little bit more room for a single individual.
That makes sense.
But once you make over that, you can't do it. There's other tax advantage instruments you could save into at that point in time that we'll talk about at a different show. But if you're under the age of 50, you can do up to $7,000 per year per person. If you're over the age of 50, you can do it's called the catch-up provision, an extra $1,000. So you can do $8,000 per person. You might say, okay, well, that's all good and dandy. And how do I save that? Or what do I invested in? And you said, well, the rate of return is pretty good in a Roth. Well,
yeah.
It depends, because whether you put money in like a traditional IRA that there's a tax break on the front end, or you put in a Roth IRA where there's a tax break like on the back end, you can invest at the same. So you can fund an IRA or a Roth IRA with a checking account, a savings account, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, CDs. You can fund it with an annuity. There's various ways that...
Annuity? Are you going to tell me what these terms all mean?
Yeah, maybe a different...
Future episode?
Future episode.
I feel like that word is thrown out a lot in the financial world. Annuity.
Well, I'll just touch on it since you asked. So it's just a way that you can get a constant income stream.
Okay.
So it's like another Social Security.
Is that tax-free as well?
It depends. It depends.
Okay.
So if it's a Roth IRA and you put like, hey, I have an old Roth 401k through my retirement, or Roth TSP through my retirement, then you can take that and that will transfer to a Roth IRA. So you could fund a Roth IRA with, once again, the same things: checking, savings, stocks, mutual funds, annuity, things of that nature. So if you move your mutual funds or stocks that you might have been in within your retirement plan to a Roth, that will continue to grow tax-free, get it out tax-free. So as an example, let's just say our son, and he starts, we got a 15-year-old son, and he starts to go to work, and he makes $10,000 a year. Well, he can contribute up to $7,000. Now, if he only makes $3,000, he can only contribute up to $3,000 into that. So let's just say he makes a one-time deposit of $5,000, and then he doesn't do anything else all the way up to age 59, because that's the key age. You got to be age 59 and a half before you can withdraw that. So it's either 5 years or 59 and a half, whichever is longer, to get the gains out. So if he puts it $5,000, and let's say it grows to be $100,000, by the time he hits 59 and a half, when he pulls all that money out, he does not pay any taxes on it.
Okay.
None at all.
That's nice.
But if you would have put it in a traditional IRA, where you get a little bit of tax break up front, so for instance, I'll give a different example. So say you have a married couple, and this married couple is making $100,000 a year, and they decide to put $5,000 into a traditional IRA, or they could put $5,000 in like a 401k contribution. So instead of getting taxed on that $100,000, they get a little bit of deduction up front. So now they might have to pay taxes on $5,000. But if that $5,000 grows to say be $50,000 by the time they retire, they have to pay taxes on the whole $45,000 worth of gain, as well as the 5 that they put in because they got the tax break up front on it. So Roths can just be a way to grow money tax-free, get it out tax-free, rather than growing it tax-deferred like a 401k or an IRA and coming out taxable. So there you are. There's your financial tax-free growth of the day.
For newly starting couples, that might be a good option when they're first getting started.
Oh, actually, it can be for anybody really.
So I could do it now at any time. I could open a Roth IRA. It's based on my income, though.
Based on my income. So if we make too much, then we can't.
Gotcha.
But as long as we...
And that changes every year, so you'd almost have to find out from a financial advisor.
Well, like 2024, it's, amounts change every year on how much you can actually contribute. Not every year, but usually about every 3 or 4 years they change and go. Like back in college, it was only $2,000.
Okay.
So what is it, 15, 16, 17, 18 years ago, however long ago, that was about $2,000 that you could put in. Now it's up to $7,000 and then $8,000 if you're over the age of 50. So
our son could invest now.
So yes, as long as you have an earned income.
So it doesn't matter that if your parents made more, it's you as an individual.
You as an individual.
Gotcha.
Yep. Now, granted, so let's just say there's a worker and then there's a spouse at home, and let's just say it's stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, and say the worker made $75,000 a year, but the spouse was a stay-at-home, didn't make anything. You can, in essence, like borrow some money, or in essence, borrow in regards to how the IRS looks at it. So both the worker as well as the spouse could also put $7,000 in if they're under age 50. So you can actually do $14,000, $7,000 a piece, or if they're over 50, they can each do $8,000 a piece.
Okay, well, that's good advice, babe. And that just makes me think, for tip-wise, if people are interested in learning more and have financial questions or relationship questions, feel free to comment on our Instagram, Facebook page. You can write into our website with your questions. And we're going to try to address those questions that you might have, those burning questions. Relationship-wise, maybe it'll be good advice, maybe not. I mean, it's unfiltered, coming from 2 unexperts in relationships. But financial-wise, you pretty much can give them some good advice for that.
I do it all day long, so I should know. But also, they can go to our website. financiallyforeverafter.com. They can like and subscribe.
Instagram. Yep. We're on Facebook. And make sure you hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube, as well as on your streaming, either Apple or Spotify. And you will catch all our future episodes. Thanks for joining us today on Financially Forever After, a Love and Money podcast.